morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Whistle. My name's Eric, I'm a level 5 referee here in England, and I'm trying to become a professional. If you've not been here before, in these videos, I take you in the day in the life of what it's like to be a referee. We review all the decisions I make in the game, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we try and improve and share our learnings here on the channel. Today's match is between Cirencester Town versus Stonehouse. Both of these teams play in the Hellenic Division. Cirencester play in the Premier, Stonehouse play in Division 1. Typically, you'd have to be a level 4 referee to do this game, but as it's the County Cup, I've been lucky enough to get this game. I've never officiated a team at Step 5 before, so it's a brand new experience for me, and there's a lot of learning points in this game, so stick around to see them. If you want to see extended videos like this, you can join the channel down below, and that'll give you insight into what happens outside of the matches, so training, pre-match, post-match, etc. There's this new trend of kickoffs, isn't there? Of people just like basically absolutely lumping it straight away. In this game, it doesn't happen, but yeah, all the games I've been doing recently, literally from kickoff, they're just lumping it into that far corner. A bit like rugby, trying to almost like gain territory. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but this pitch is absolutely massive. I think it's as big as a pitch is allowed to be. And so I was trying to take an advanced position as there's a lot of ground I need to cover. From here, once the number 12 gets the ball, I could see that he wanted to play it out wide by his body shape. And so I try and take a more, I guess, like positive position, try and preempt where that ball's going to go. But then unfortunately, after that, I do the opposite. So I can see that he's going to switch the play, but I don't really make much of a sprint into that left-hand side, but thankfully nothing comes of it. I did have assistance in this game, which I never ever get assistance. I think this was like the 4th time ever I've refereed with assistant referees. And so I was really more concerned about glancing across for the offside. Obviously watching here, it's clear that it's nowhere near offside, but at the time I didn't know that. So I was looking across at the assistant referee, and really what I should have done was just been making an effort on my positioning more so. The keeper then releases the ball out, the ball gets played in, this play is offside, and the assistant ref correctly flags. Now, this is where me, not used to working with assistants, could take a learning point. So the assistant is correctly flagged for offside. The lad that was in an offside position then goes to challenge the player who's playing the pass. However, they play the ball 20 yards up into one of their forwards, and he could easily just turn the ball into the middle, right? Could easily just play that ball in here, then they could be out. So do I actually need to give the offside? No, I could just play the advantage to the team in black and white, and you'll hear them say that as well. Yeah, we may as well play ref. We'd rather play ref. A learning point for me there. We get shouts for a foul here. For me, it's not quite enough. Obviously, the 5 does lift his arm and put it on his arm, but for me, it's not enough contact for him to go down the way he does. So I just wave it away and play on. I wanted the players to know that those soft type of fouls are not the type of fouls that I'm going to be giving, you know, especially in that area to an attacker. No, not for me. However, we do give a foul for this. For me, it's a little clearer. The number 10's got his arms wrapped around the player. So you'll get things like this where players are, oh, what's the difference? What's the difference? But for me, the lad's backing into the ball. The number 10's got his arms all the way around him. That's really impeding his movement. And so for me, that's a holding offence. And that's why I've given the free kick here. The assistant has correctly raised his flag, but the goalkeeper's got the ball in his hands, and so we play on. Again, the assistant has correctly flagged because I said in my pre-match to them, please give me a quick flag if there's potential collision between striker and goalkeeper. Okay, two people come for a 50-50. So the assistant's raised his flag before the ball gets to the goalkeeper, before the striker actually plays it, to make sure that people are safe. And here's an example of where the expectation from the players is a little bit different to what I referee usually on a Saturday. You'll see as this ball comes in, the lad is kind of gauging where the player in front of him is with his hand. You'll see the two's got his hand out and he's just kind of holding him out there. He gives the ball away, and other than this centre half, nobody really is complaining at all. And the captain of the team in black and white is actually complaining to his own player about giving the ball away. So for me, this is not the same as a push. He's got his arm out there, he's like keeping the distance. Whereas on a Saturday, everyone would be shouting for a push in the back here. Whereas at this level, it doesn't seem to be as prevalent. And that's the thing that I think people don't really understand about refereeing is, yes, you referee to the laws, but you also referee to the expectation of the players. So when I referee the lowest level in football on a Saturday, the expectation of those players and the enjoyment of the game and the safety of the game is different to players at this level who there's a little bit of money involved, okay? They're going to be playing an FA Cup, FA Trophy, FA Vase, promotion, relegation, things that really matter to these clubs. And so the expectation from the players is very different. And that's something as a referee we have to take into account. I then give a free kick for this handball offence. For me, it's really simple. It's deliberate handball. And for a handball, it's only a handball if it's one, deliberate, or two, their arm or hand is making their body unnaturally bigger. This is that concept of safe refereeing that we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago. So I didn't give the holding offence to the attacker, but now we've got a situation, the defender's backing towards his goal and he's being pulled back slightly by the player in black and white. And so for me, in that situation, free kick, and it's all good. People were shouting for a handball here. Someone shouted he's caught it. I didn't see a handball. There isn't one. Now, what I probably should have done is given a free kick for the second one. Yeah, as the red number 8's gone up to head it, that player in black and white just lent into him with no intent to play the ball. I even put the whistle up to my mouth. I should have just given the free kick. That's a mistake. We then unfortunately get an injury out of nowhere. This lad just hurts himself. I didn't know if it was a serious injury, so we let play carry on. But then I could hear the sound coming from him. And seeing as the ball was in such a neutral, kind of safe area, I thought it was best to stop play. When you have an injury, you restart play with a drop ball from where the ball was when you stopped play. And you will drop it to the team that have possession or to the team that were going to regain possession. We get some holding here and I miss it and it's on my blind side. So you'll see he's holding him, but from my angle, I can't see it on that blind side. The assistant would be able to see it, but it's not something I would expect them ever to flag for. I don't have buzzer flags at the minute. Hopefully we'll get some when we get promoted to level 4, if we get promoted to level 4. So they're not able to buzz me either. So we can see that the shirt's coming away. It probably is impeding his movement, but I honestly just don't have an angle on it, as you can see. As it's happening, I'm kind of blocked off by this player here. I don't have a clear view of it at all. So he lets go just in time. The player goes, unfortunately then has to play backwards and he's like, ref, any chance? But yeah, unfortunately I just couldn't see it from where I was. So here's an example of working well with your assistants. So that ball comes in and it's cleared by the player in red. I wasn't sure who cleared it. So I wait for the assistant to signal down below, which he does, and then we can go up together and give the right decision. The key to this is the pre-match instructions to your assistants. I don't work with assistants very often. I've done it maybe like 4 or 5 times here in England. And so I'm still very much getting used to this pre-match chat routine sort of thing. Now, when I go out with other referees, their pre-match chat is usually very clear. If I don't signal and I don't know which way it's going to go, I am going to look at you and then I want you to signal down below which way you think it is. So you'll see here that the assistant puts his flag out down by his right hand side, and then we can go up and signal together. And so that's what we spoke about. And it's a perfect example of not messing it up and crossing over because one of us has gone too quickly. So here, maybe I should have my first yellow card of the game, probably. I think that should have been a yellow card, and I didn't give one. And the reason being is I didn't think it was a promising attack, but I think this is just like unsporting behavior, right? Like there's no attempt to play the ball. It's cynical. Like I think this should just be a yellow card. I probably could have prevented it happening as well, because I could have just given a foul here, but both players were holding each other and that red player had his arm over the shoulder. But then he pulls him back like this, and I think I should probably give a yellow card. I ended up just having a word with him explaining I didn't give the foul for you in the first instance because you got your arm over his shoulder. So you need to make sure that you're not holding. Otherwise, it makes it difficult for me to give a foul. I explained to the player as I'm walking away that I've not given a yellow because it's not a promising attack. But I'm not actually sure that matters. I think this is still just a yellow card. But you guys let me know what you think. What would you have given here? I give a foul against the captain here. There's a lot of shouts about that he got the ball, and I explained to him that I don't disagree that he may have won the ball, but that he had to slide through the back of the player to win it. Again, we have a chat and basically just explain, look mate, I know I'm not saying you didn't win the ball, but you've had to slide through the back of him to win it. That for me is still a foul. At this point, obviously we've had these 3 instances, right? We've had the pullback, we've had the foul, and then we've had this tackle. And so at this point, I want to try and manage the game as best I can and keep the temperature low, because with it being my first game at step 5, I could start feeling that temperature kind of rising, and yeah, we're gonna have to work hard to keep a lid on it. So we then get a really interesting situation for a back pass. So the ball gets played back, the keeper picks it up, and then you'll see all these appeals asking for a pass back. We stop playing because the goal's got in his hands, and it's just going to be a drop ball to the goalkeeper. Now, why is this not a pass back? So the reason this is not a back pass, as players would call it, is because the goalkeeper attempted to kick the ball away. The goalkeeper cannot pick the ball up if it's been deliberately played back to them by a teammate, which has happened here. However, an indirect free kick is only awarded, so a back pass is only awarded if the goalkeeper touches the ball with their hand or arm, unless they've clearly kicked or attempt to kick the ball to release it into play after it's been deliberately kicked to them by a teammate or a throw-in. In this situation, we can agree that the ball's deliberately been played back to them by their teammate, but then they have made a genuine attempt to clear that ball, and so he's now able to pick the ball up with his hands without any kind of sanction, offence, etc. Hope that makes sense. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is half time. More to come in the second half. Let's jump straight into it. So I always do a quick count as well. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I always want to make sure we've actually got 11v11 on the pitch. Yeah, so I always do a little count. We get a foul here, that little trip, but we play advantage. It doesn't actually occur, and so we bring it back. Again, you can play advantage. If the advantage doesn't occur within a couple of seconds, then you can bring the offence back. How long? It's up to you. You're the referee, it's up to you. For me, this was a foul just because his arm was up by the back of the guy's neck. Obviously, he's gone to jump for it, but he's got his arm extended out onto the guy's neck, and yeah, it affects him as he's trying to head the ball. Then they start complaining about it delaying the restart because the lad's taking the shot at goal. For me, no, they're not really in a rush to play quickly anyway, and the ball's miles away already, so it's not quite delaying the restart for me. This lad hurts himself whilst he goes down and heads it back to his goalkeeper. And again, because we've stopped play, we would restart with a drop ball. Because the ball was inside the box when we stopped play, we always drop it to the goalkeeper, regardless of whether the goalkeeper's got possession or not. Stonehouse, the team in black and white, then equalise. You'll see the complaints about it being offside. As you can see from the freeze frame, he's not. And so as they're off celebrating, this player here was showing some verbal dissent towards the assistant. And so as we're walking back, I have a word with him to not shout at the assistant. He's bang on in line. There's no way you can know if he's offside, he was behind you. And to basically, yeah, keep your thoughts to yourself. He then has another pop at the assistant after I've just told him not to. And so we show him a yellow card for dissent, and that is a sin bin. A sin bin is 10 minutes off the field of play for the dissent offence. And because I'm the referee in the middle, honestly, my tolerance for dissent towards my assistants is probably lower than it is towards me. The 2 guys that are on my line are there to support me and help me for the game, okay? And so I won't take dissent from players towards my assistants. My tolerance is a lot lower. If they've got an issue, they can come and approach me and talk about it with me. I just can't have people shouting 30, 40 yards across at the assistant for getting a decision right. So if you're a player and you're watching, don't shout at the assistant referees. If you've got a problem, come and chat to the ref, okay? I'm more than happy to talk things through, but you just can't be shouting 30, 40 yards at an assistant referee. They've gone down to 10 men, the team in red. It has a big impact because the team in black and white then score. This is a tough one. We'll never know from the camera, but again, the assistant was in line. He had a clear view of it, and unfortunately, the camera is not great. Basically, a ball gets played in. Goalkeeper makes a great save. Rebound comes in. He's facing his own goal. He jumps, catches it, and then I look across. The assistant is right there. He flags for the goal. So 2-1. and we give a free kick here. Again, deliberate handball for me. As you can see, his arm comes away from his body to control the ball. It's a clear handball for me. Yeah, you'll hear shouts. If you've gone on the shout, that's off his shoulder. You can see from the replay that's not the case. So the ball gets cleared, and it flicks around the corner. And at this point, I'm thinking, crap. I am about, I don't know, that's probably about 15 yards. If the circle is 10 yards, I'm probably about 15, 20 yards away. But I know full well that they are just going to break, and that player is going to break down here as well. And it's a 2v1. This is now Dogzo situation. So I've got to make a real effort to get up. So we break a sprint, and then we start breaking around left as this player receives the ball. But yeah, when play breaks like that, I don't know about you guys, but like I just get like this rush. It's like, oh crap, like go. But yeah, thankfully nothing happens. There's no big decision to make. It could have. So you gotta bust a gut. Get in there. And then the team in red equalise. They make it 2-2. Now this is a really interesting one again, and I'm really interested to know what you guys think about this. So you may not have noticed it at first, but the team black and white clear it, and then it's headed back by a player in red. Now, as it's headed back, this player here is in an offside position, okay? He's in an offside position. However, he doesn't interfere with play, and then that player in black and white makes a clear attempt to play the ball. It falls to that player, and he scores. The assistant doesn't flag. Why doesn't the assistant flag? The guy was in an offside position. So as you can see in laws of the game, just because the player's offside doesn't mean they're committing an offence. Okay, and if we look at what an offside offence is, a player in an offside position at the moment the ball is played or touched by a teammate is only penalised on becoming involved in active play by interfering with play by playing or touching a ball. Doesn't do that. Interfering with an opponent, okay, by challenging for the ball or preventing an opponent from being able to play the ball, line of vision, etc. That doesn't come into it. Clearly attempting to play the ball, doesn't do that. Or making an obvious action which clearly impacts the ability of the opponent to play the ball, doesn't do that. Or gains an advantage by playing the ball or interfering with an opponent when it's rebounded or deflected off the post, or an opponent, or deliberately saved by an opponent. Now this is the important part. A player in an offside position receiving the ball from an opponent who has deliberately played the ball is not considered to have gained an advantage unless it was a deliberate save by an opponent. So we have to determine whether that player in black and white deliberately played the ball. Now, what is a deliberate play? A deliberate play is either passing the ball to a teammate, gaining possession of the ball, or clearing the ball. Now, whether that pass or clearance is successful or not, it is irrelevant. This doesn't negate the fact that the player deliberately played the ball. To basically determine whether someone has deliberately played the ball or not, we look at a couple of factors. One being distance the ball had travelled from, and did they have a clear view of it? How quickly that ball was moving. The direction of the ball, is it expected or unexpected? And then did the player have time to coordinate their kind of body movement? And finally, a ball obviously moving along the ground is a lot easier than the ball in the air. The difference between deliberate play and a save is when a player stops or attempts to stop the ball, which is going in or very close to the goal. Okay, so like a block or a slide off the goal line, etc, etc. So when we look at this situation, yes, the ball is headed, yes, he's in an offside position, but this defender has a lot of time to play that ball. He deliberately tries to clear it, tries to control it. It falls to the guy in an offside position, but it doesn't mean that he's offside, and so it's a goal. This is a very niche situation. I hope I've explained it well. That's why the assistant and myself have not decided on an offside offence. This for me is a foul. Yeah, he's jumped into the back of him, clear foul for me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is full time. This was a cup game, and so this will go straight to penalties. However, unfortunately, the camera got very, very confused about the penalties. So you'll see it pans there, it pans away, and that's kind of the story of the penalties. But yes, the camera couldn't really handle all the players crowding in the middle. It thought play was there. Stonehouse ended up winning on penalties and going through to the next round. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next week.